And this one's take a look at a whole bunch of interval notation examples. So imagine we have a number line go from here to here. All right, and then say this is a whole, make this a whole also, make this -1, make this +2. The inequality form would look like this, okay? Imagine we want to focus on all the numbers from -1 to +2. Call this x right here. So then you would say -1, because this is an empty hole, you would say less than, so it corresponds to being empty, x. And again, because this here is empty, that means this would be less than, and then you would put 2. So that would be the inequality form. The interval form, again, you're going to go from left to right, so you're going to put the -1 down, but because again, this is empty, you get a parentheses around the -1, comma. There's no x or variable here, and then because this is empty right here, you're going to put a 2, and because it's empty, you put a parentheses. So that would be the in an interval form, like here, okay? Interval form. Let me remind you, it's spelled this way, okay? Interval form. Let's go on to the next one. Imagine it looks similar, but it looks like this, okay? You have, again, a number line. This is, say, -infinity, +infinity, if you like. But then let's fill in one of these. So let's make this one filled in, but make this one here a whole, like this. And then, again, let's focus on all the numbers between them so they look like this. So here, there's always an x, a variable like x, that represents any number between, say, -1 and +5. I've drawn it like it's in the middle, but it doesn't have to be in the middle. It can be anywhere between them, okay? So this just represents numbers like, for example, -0.5 or 2 or 0, whatever, some number between -1 and 5. So the inequality form, since we do have this filled in, you would say have to, like -1, because this is filled in, you would say less than or equal to, because of the fill-in part, x. Now this is still a whole, so you would say less than +5. The interval form, you go from left to right again. You put the -1, but this is filled in, so you put a bracket for that reason, comma. There's no variable. After the comma, you put the stopping value, which is 5. Again, but this is a whole here, so you put 5 with a parentheses around it this way. That would be the interval form. This time, let's fill in everything on this side. All right, so let's see, -infinity, +infinity, and then fill this hole in like this, but then make this empty. And again, let's focus on all the numbers from -1 to +6. So inequality form, because this is a whole, you're going to say -1 is less than x. And again, x is a variable that represents whatever value you can imagine between -1 and 6, like 2 or 4 or negative or 0 or negative, say, 0.5, whatever. And then this is less than here, because this is filled in. Now you got to say less than or equal to +6 because of the fill-in part. Interval form, going from left to right, you would say -1, but it's a whole, so parentheses, comma. 6, but it's filled in, so bracket, because of the fill-in part, right? You need a bracket here. That's the one where we have holes on both ends. Again, let's see, -infinity, +infinity. Let's say we have this is a hole, but for the sake of completeness, let's fill these in here and here. And again, we're going to focus on all the numbers between them and assign some values to the endpoints. So make this -2, make this +10. And again, x, this represents whatever number you can imagine between -2 and 10, like 8, for example, or -1, and so on. In the inequality form, you're going to say -2, but again, it's filled in, so you're going to say less than or equal to, for that reason, x. And then here, this is going to be the following then, less than or equal to +10, this way. Again, you got to have the equal to part present because this is filled in, so it's solid. In interval notation, you go from left to right, so it becomes -2, it's filled in, so a bracket, comma. You go up to the 10, but the 10 is filled in, so you get a bracket right here. So the brackets, remember, correspond to being filled in. Now let's make a couple more sophisticated examples. So let's say we have a number line, again, going from left to right, this way and this way. So this is -infinity, this is +infinity. Put a hole here, and then what we want to do is just represent all the numbers from -infinity up to this value, from that value up to the second value, and from the second value up to +infinity. So make this -1 for the sake of simplicity, make this, say, 4. Interval notation will look like this. You're going from left to right, so left to right this way. You got to indicate somehow that you have to skip, right, this -1, and you got to indicate that you're skipping, so here you got to skip this +4 also. So to do that, you're going to say the following, from left to right, -infinity. Now, infinity, positive and negative, is always a concept, not a number, therefore it's always a parentheses. Comma, you're going to go up to the -1, and you're skipping over the -1. It's not included, so you got to have a parentheses around it. And to indicate skipping over, you put U. Now this symbol here, remember, in this context, it looks like the letter U, but it stands for the word union. Simply, union is what we do when you put intervals together, when you splice intervals together. Then you resume on the other side of the -1, and you got to go up to the 4. So again, because the negative 1 is excluded, you're going to put negative 1 comma positive 4, and then you're going to skip over the 4 with u, and you're going to resume on the other side of the 4, so 4 comma, and then you're going to go towards positive infinity, so positive infinity this way. Let's do another example. All right, number line. Okay, so make this negative infinity, positive infinity this way. Okay, so put a hole here, but this time, for the sake of variety, fill the hole like this, and then put a hole here, leave that one open, and imagine what you want to do is account for all the numbers as negative infinity up to whatever that is, and then skip over that entire interval. So here, we're going to skip this part right here, and then resume on the other side of that over here, assign some values to these, so negative 1, for example, and positive 3, and skip the middle. All right, so going from left to right, you put down your negative infinity symbol with the parentheses around it, comma, you're going up to the negative 1. Now, the negative 1 itself is included, so you're going to put negative 1, and because of the fill in there, you're going to put a bracket with the negative 1. You're skipping everything from negative 1 to 3, so that's going to be u, like this for union. Now, the 3, as you can see, is not filled in, it's a hole, so you're going to put a parentheses, 3, comma, and then you're going to go all the way to the right, so it's going to be positive infinity. So we've spliced two intervals together using u for union. This is one last one that, again, occurs frequently. Here we are, that's our number line. This is negative infinity, this is positive infinity. And this time, you know what, we'll have a hole here, we'll have a hole here, and we'll focus on all the numbers from negative infinity up to whatever that number is. And then from that number up to positive infinity. Let's assign some values. Make this negative 1, make this positive 5. Excellent. So now, again, you're going to read from left to right, and remember that this part here, right, we're going to skip. You're going to go negative infinity with a parentheses, because it's a concept, not a number, up to the negative 1, but the negative 1 itself, that's not included, so you're going to put a parentheses, right? It's empty. And then you're going to skip, so that's your u for union. Okay, then you're going to hit the 5 going from left to right, but the 5 itself is not included, right? This is empty here, so you're going to put a parentheses with a 5, comma, and then you're going to go all the way to the right through positive infinity, and then infinity on the right is also a concept, not a number, so you put a parentheses this way. That's the interval representation. Let's invent another one. These are kind of fun, right? Once you get used to them, you can do a lot of them. So this time, let's see. We're going to make this count. We're going to make this count also. So fill in these endpoints. We're going to make that count. We're going to make that count. All right, and then we're going to go up to whatever this value is. We're going to say skip this part right here, and then we're going to go up to whatever that value is on the right side. So on the left side, negative infinity. On the right side, positive infinity. Assign some values to whatever these are. For example, like negative 4, and then make this positive 10. Okay, so again, you're going to go from left to right. It's going to give us negative infinity with a parentheses, comma, up to the negative 4, but that is included because it's shaded in yellow, so bracket. Okay, now u for union, right, to indicate you're skipping, so u right here. The 10 is included, it's, you know, shaded in yellow, so bracket 10, comma, and then you're going to go all the way to positive infinity, so this way, and then you terminate with a parentheses. And that's all the video, really. If you can do these, you're in pretty good shape. So remember, friends, please remember to like, okay, sub, and share this video right here. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.